What if the man who built his entire reputation on calling everyone else a snitch was secretly the biggest informant of them all?
Bro,
God damn,
because
been 3
obviously
years.
you ain't going to court because you was going to court. Every time you go to court, they gonna let us know you going to court. So
I can't go to court for immigration if I got an open gun
what
case.
about
Fool.
the gun case, bull?
I can't go to court for immigration if I got
They
an
will
open
give
gun
you
case.
your time.
Wack that told him that though. Because his statement in the motherfucking his statement there, nigga. Wack.
Shout out to all my ops. Y'all thought you had me. We got them. Y'all got to be goofy. Let me tell you something. I've been manipulative, slick, evasive, intelligent, silent, exciting all my life. Whatever button I want to push. Big dummies.
For years, Wack 100 has been the loudest voice in the room, pointing fingers and screaming rat at every rapper who takes a plea deal. But now, a leaked wiretap supposedly dropped by his rival 21 Savage has dragged a nearly 20-year-old federal gun case back into the light, and people are starting to connect the dots.
It's gonna probably be my last video. I'm gonna go turn myself in. And I just wanna say this to y'all. When they raided my houses and my property, they was asking about Wack. Wack, loose cannon, 600, and this internet stuff. All of y'all filed. All y'all who be sending shit around the internet. All y'all who be promoting and listening to what these niggas saying. All y'all giving these likes and hidden likes. All y'all supporting this.
The whispers have turned into a roar, and everyone is asking the same question. What if Wack 100 has been playing both sides this whole time? The latest bombshell landed courtesy of his longtime rival, 21 Savage. For years, Wack 100 has relentlessly attacked 21, dragging his name through the mud with accusations of cooperating with ICE to fix his immigration status, and even trying to connect him to the YSL RICO case. Wack's attacks were loud, public, and constant. 21, for the most part, remained silent, moving with a quiet dignity that seemed to infuriate Wack even more. Then, almost out of nowhere, a clip surfaced online. It showed Wack opening his wallet, and for a split second, a shiny object that looked undeniably like a police badge was visible. The internet exploded. But the real story isn't just the badge, it's the timing and the source. The streets are convinced that 21 Savage, after years of enduring Wack's abuse, orchestrated the leak himself. It wasn't a loud, direct confrontation, it was a silent, strategic masterstroke, a chess move designed for maximum impact. Without saying a word, 21 had unleashed a storm that Wack couldn't control, turning his own tactics of public exposure against him. It felt like the culmination of years of calculated patience, a final devastating checkmate. This pattern of deflection and suspicion isn't new. In fact, it's Wack 100's signature move. Look at what happened with respected street figure Big U. When news broke that Big U and his crew were facing a massive RICO indictment, the timeline of events was deeply unsettling. Before any official announcements were made, before the media got a whiff of it, Wack 100 somehow knew everything. He sent a frantic, cryptic message to Big U's wife, a supposed warning that read like a 911 alert, telling her that Big U needed to get out immediately. A friendly heads up from a concerned friend? That's not how it looked. It felt more like a calculated move from someone who was on the inside. It looked like the kind of warning someone gives when they know a raid is coming because they helped plan it. The moment Big U was in custody, Wack 100's behavior became even more bizarre. He immediately jumped on Clubhouse and social media, not to support Big U, but to flip the entire narrative. He accused Big U of being the real informant, claiming he had a secret BlackBerry provided by law enforcement to communicate with the feds. It was a classic Wack 100 maneuver: create chaos to distract from his own questionable position. He was trying to control the story, to paint Big U as the traitor before anyone could seriously question how Wack had such specific advanced knowledge of a sealed federal indictment. This incident raised a chilling question that hangs over Wack to this day. How is he always standing right next to the fire, yet he never gets burned? To truly understand the depth of these suspicions, you have to travel back in time to a dusty roadside in Texas in 2005. This is the foundational story, the ghost that haunts Wack 100's entire career. He and his brother, both of whom were already convicted felons, were pulled over for a routine traffic stop. When Wack refused a search of the vehicle, police brought in a canine unit. The dog immediately alerted them, and inside the car, officers discovered a deadly arsenal: a loaded shotgun, a rifle, and a pistol. For a convicted felon, this is an open and shut case. It's the kind of charge that comes with a mandatory, lengthy sentence in federal prison. It ends careers. It changes lives. But for Wack 100, it didn't. He posted bail and returned to his life in Los Angeles as if nothing had ever happened. For 2 full years, the case went completely dark. There were no court dates, no media reports, nothing. Then, suddenly, the entire case was dismissed. The official reason provided in the court documents is a phrase that sends shivers down the spine of anyone familiar with the justice system. Dismissed in the interest of justice. That is not a phrase used for technicalities or mercy. It is legal code, a well-understood euphemism that almost always implies that the defendant provided substantial assistance to the government. It means they traded information. Wack has since tried to claim the case was thrown out due to an illegal search, but that is a provable lie. The public court records are clear. There is no motion to suppress evidence, no mention of police misconduct. There is only that haunting phrase, "in the interest of justice," and the quiet, clean disappearance of a case that should have sent him to prison for a decade. The timing of this dismissal becomes even more sinister when you look at what happened next. Just a few years after Wack walked away from his federal charges, his boss at Death Row Records, the infamous Suge Knight, found himself in the crosshairs of the feds. A massive gang injunction was unrolled, and Suge's entire inner circle was systematically dismantled through wiretaps, raids, and indictments. The federal paperwork from that investigation is extensive, with names of associates, big and small, popping up everywhere. Yet there is one name conspicuously absent from every single document: Wack 100. He was deeply embedded in that world, right at the center of the storm, yet he emerged completely unscathed, a ghost in the machine. Around that same period, the Main Street Crips were indicted in the notorious kidnapping case involving basketball superstar Shaquille O'Neal. When the wiretap transcripts from that case were released, they contain recordings of a mysterious figure named Wack, who was heard leaving voicemails and making calls. For years, persistent street-level rumors have maintained that Wack was a code name for Wack 100. He was allegedly all over the investigation, yet once again, when the dust settled, he faced no charges and no consequences. It was another instance of him being at the scene of the crime, but disappearing before the cops arrived. This history makes his modern-day persona as a clubhouse kingpin all the more chilling. Wack 100 has built his entire brand on one word: snitch. He wields it like a weapon, hurling it at anyone who gets in his way. He did it to Gunna, theatrically claiming to possess a 2-hour interrogation tape that he would leak. A tape that, of course, never materialized. It was pure theater, designed for clout and intimidation. He came after BG, a man who honorably served over a decade in federal prison, accusing him of folding. This claim was publicly refuted by BG's own cellmate, who confirmed that BG never cooperated. But the truth doesn't matter to Wack. The goal isn't to be right. The goal is to be loud, to control the narrative by flooding the zone with accusations. Perhaps the most disturbing part of his online operations is his habit of recording everything. In street culture, recording conversations without consent is a cardinal sin. It's universally seen as the behavior of someone who is collecting evidence, either for personal leverage or to hand over to a third party. People are finally starting to connect this habit to a terrifying pattern. Several rappers, like Loose Cannon, have appeared on Wack's clubhouse stages, been baited into reckless conversations, and found themselves facing legal trouble shortly after. This has led to a dark theory that Wack is not just a loudmouth, but a setup artist. Is he intentionally creating a platform where he can lure his rivals into incriminating themselves on a recorded line? Essentially gift-wrapping cases for prosecutors. The The pattern is too frequent to be a coincidence. It feels coordinated, calculated, and deeply sinister. The more people piece this timeline together, the more Wack's career looks less like a series of lucky breaks and more like a long, calculated con. The dismissed gun case, the advanced knowledge of federal raids, his conspicuous absence from major indictments, his obsession with recording people, and his constant projecting accusations, it all paints the picture of a man who has been living a double life. He presents himself as a guardian of the street code, while his actions seem to align perfectly with the interests of law enforcement. And now, the walls are finally closing in. The leaked badge video was the crack in the dam, and the flood of suspicion is washing away his carefully constructed facade. Former allies are creating distance, deleting old photos, and going silent. The same blogs and podcasts that once amplified his every rant are now re-examining his history with a critical eye. Even respected OGs who once tolerated his antics are now quietly admitting that something has never added up with Wack. The energy has irrevocably shifted. The hunter is now the hunted, and his own words are being used as evidence against him. He remains defiant, doubling down on his loud, aggressive persona, perhaps believing that if he yells loud enough, he can drown out the truth. But the louder he gets, the more guilty he looks. The streets are watching, and for the first time, Wack 100 doesn't control the narrative. He is the narrative, and everyone is waiting for the final act.